So what we're going to do now, Yvonne?
We're going to prepare some drilled holes for pot riveting. And again, we're on a board, heavy board, so it's not moving. I've got my 90-degree addition to the top surface in which I put the pieces that I'm drilling. Both of these, one metal and one plastic, are quite small. When you're drilling with small things, you need that wedge shape to hold it, but you also need to have some scissors.
Pliers.
Where do I start?
That's all right.
You also need to have a pair of pliers so that you can grip them as well, especially when you're using metal. You can imagine holding that with your fingers and the drill bit catches, that will spin and you'll end up shredding your fingers. So always employ a pair of pliers to hold them quite securely while you drill. Plastic very easy to do, metal just a little bit more difficult, requiring a little bit of pressure.
Okay.
When you're drilling for pot rivets, it's really important that you match the drill bit to the size specified on your pot rivets, and blind rivets. The drill has to allow for the thickened shaft to pass through the holes that you drill. So I've got two different depths here. They're both the same diameter, but the thickened shaft is slightly longer on one than the other. And you make that selection according to how many pieces of material you are joining together. And by the time that third thickness of this, to which I'm attaching it, gets there, that smaller, shorter one isn't going to be satisfactory. So I'm putting that one aside and using a larger one. Okay, two pieces, and then the third going into there. Now if I can just introduce you to the pot rivet gun. Again, it's important that you have the correct size shaft holder to fit the blind rivets that you're using. So that should sit quite snugly into that space. It doesn't fit in the smaller one, so that's the one we're using for these particular rivets. Now what the gun does is it grabs hold of the shaft just beyond that flange and pulls it through from the tip back into the gun, and by doing so it compresses that double thicker layer on the end of your pot rivet. And you can see it spreading out as I slowly compress the gun around the shaft. And that's essentially what is holding the pieces of metal together. You've got a flange, your joined pieces, and this bunching up on the outside to compress them all together and hold them in place. And when it's finished compressing, it nearly snaps off and leaves your rivet in place with the extra piece there.